Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to All Things Brunswick.
Sorry.
It's Tuesday night,
I'm laughing already, Mayor.
and we have Dan with us
Hey,
again.
you missed me last week. Let's be honest.
Yes.
And the old geezer's off on a boat somewhere, right?
And who might that be, Dan?
Some guy named Bill. He shows up here once in a while, but we let him come and join us occasionally.
That he does.
All kidding aside, Bill's away on vacation. I hope he has a very wonderful one.
Yes, we miss you, Bill.
We do.
Have a great time.
All right, enough about him. Let's move on.
Bad guy. And I'm happy to see Dan again. I missed you.
Yeah, you missed me last week, didn't you?
I did. I always miss you when you're
Star's back.
That's right. We have a great guest this evening. I would like to welcome Chief Deputy Brian Chism. He works for the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff's Office.
And he has been there for 18 years.
You might have to give her a field sobriety test after this.
Are you done?
No, I'm having too much of a fun time tonight.
I'm not having any part in this.
He's been there for 18 years. He has worked as a patrol officer, special operations. He was a K-9 officer for 10 years. In February of 2021, Brian was promoted to major, which means he was overseeing investigations, narcotics, and the 911 center. That's a lot of work. And in August of 2022, he was promoted to chief deputy.
Correct.
The highest rank in the sheriff's office before you become sheriff. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. He's responsible for everything, overall operations now, and reports to Sheriff Ingram.
Correct.
Great. Brian is a Brunswick County native. He went to South Brunswick High School, and he graduated from the FBI National Academy. That's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So we are so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And I feel like I've known you forever.
My ex-neighbor from back in the day.
I know.
Right across the street.
I know.
Did she babysit you when you were growing up?
No.
Just wondering.
I was moved into my own house. That was actually my first house that we bought.
Yep. I remember that. And I remember when you were a K-9 officer, because I met all of your dogs.
Yeah.
They came to visit a couple times without you.
Yeah, that happens occasionally, unfortunately.
That's okay. I enjoyed them.
They probably wanted treats, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And they were kind of different. They were different from when they are with their handler.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot friendlier.
Most of them.
Yes. So, Brian, tell us a little bit about your family and if you have law enforcement in your family.
So I've been here for 42 years. Don't hold this against me, but I was actually born in Connecticut, but that's only because my dad was stationed in the Navy, in the military.
You're okay. We're not from here either. So.
We're Yankees.
We're damn Yankees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So moved down here. I was only there for 2 years. I don't remember anything about it. I've never been back. I've been here in Brunswick. So my wife, she was born and raised here.
Uh-huh.
My brother, there's 5 kids in my family. The youngest one, or the second oldest, I'm the oldest, he was also born in Connecticut, and then we moved down here. So everybody else, the 5 kids, were born and raised here in Brunswick.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was in the military. His dad was in the military. My mother's parents were my mother's dad was in the military. So I come from a long line of military service, and then myself and the youngest brother, Matthew, we were both in law enforcement.
Great.
And my cousin is the one that actually got me involved in law enforcement. I used to go to my dad's family is up from Virginia, the Northern Virginia area, and I would do ride-alongs with him. So I would do ride-alongs with him, and I came back. And I think I did 2 ride-alongs before I realized, okay, this is for me. This is what I want to do.
How old were you?
Oh, I was probably 22, 23 when I did my first ride along with him, because I started when I was 24.
Mhm.
And I come back here and I got with one of my friends that worked at the sheriff's office, and the rest is history. Everything just fell into place. I got back, I did my paperwork, and the next thing I know, I was in BLET. It just, everything worked out and lined up. And I've never looked back ever since. I mean, this is what I was meant to do, and
Yep.
this is what I still enjoy doing 18 years later.
That's great.
I've done hard labor. I did plumbing for 7 years, so I've done that. I'm not going back to
No.
that. So I'm going to make this work. But you know,
I think you have already. haven't you? Yeah.
I'm getting there. You know, it's the goal is to retire in law enforcement.
Sure.
I've got 12 more years to do a full 30, and I plan on doing that here in Brunswick. I'm not going anywhere.
Great. I'm happy to hear that.
Well, you've achieved everything I didn't achieve, because I did ride-alongs. Half my family were police officers also.
Yeah.
The other half were firemen, and I run a gym. So you go figure that one out. But I started doing ride-alongs, God, probably 15, 16 years old. Mind you, this was in the 70s, a little different back then.
Right.
And I loved it, but I never pulled the trigger on becoming either fireman or officer. I got to do ride-alongs on the fire trucks too.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So I admire you for doing that, and thank you for doing that, because
I appreciate it.
you accomplished more than I ever did, and it's something that it is one of my biggest regrets.
Hindsight 2020, when I was doing plumbing, you know, I didn't really think about it then, but once I got into or started working with the sheriff's office, you realize that it's service before self. If you want to succeed, it's service before self. And you know, I would go to these people's homes doing plumbing, and I would, you know, plumb their houses or do service calls. And it's just that sense of doing something for somebody else is what really, I think, set me apart. And then what has allowed me to be where I am today.
Mhm.
I'm just the type of person that I'm going to do whatever I can to help somebody.
And that's so obvious.
And I think that's a trait you see with all Leos. I mean, it's we've interviewed a few of them, but just in general, talking to them and seeing in my family, you are dedicated to serving the people.
Exactly.
You give of yourselves. That's a trait that a lot of people don't have.
And you can see it in a person.
Yeah. And I think it just goes across all levels of law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you put everyone before yourself almost.
And I think it's first responders in general. You know, we talk
Agreed.
a lot about law enforcement, but we definitely don't want to forget the
firemen, especially. Yeah.
We went alive, and the EMS workers and
Mhm.
everybody that works for the county and does stuff for people. It takes a special person, number one, to want to be law enforcement, but to be a first responder, it takes a special person to do that and to succeed at it and be good at it.
Exactly.
You know, it was always funny when I was growing up, as I said, both sides of my family, I mean, firemen, police officers, and they used to go, I could never do what you did. You know, the policeman would go, there's no way I could run into a burning building like you do. And the other way, I couldn't stand there and be shot at like you. You know, it's it's just interesting, but it's all fun and games too, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of mutual respect there for what the other does.
Yeah, I think if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have went in the military for at least 6 years, because just to be a part of that, something that big. But I think it's been in my family for so long, and law enforcement, while I say my cousin got me started, he was really a family friend. It's easier to explain that he's my cousin versus explaining how our families got together. But so I was really the first law enforcement officer in my actual family. So, and I'm glad that my brother went down that same road.
Ryan has a brother who is a deputy with the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office.
Well, he actually left. He's at Johnston County now.
Really?
Yeah, he's been there for a couple of years now.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
Yeah, he left to go up there, but he's still working with the sheriff's office and still law enforcement, and he's doing very well.
I have a great deal of respect for all of you, because my other favorite with the sheriff's office and a very good friend forever and ever is Steve Lanier.
Yep.
And he actually encountered the worst of the worst. Steve was shot several times and doing his job.
Yep.
And that is something that could happen to any one of you. And so for that, I respect what you do very much. I
Thank you
don't know
very
if I
much.
could put myself in harm's way like that.
It takes a special person.
It does.
Doesn't matter, man,
Mhm.
woman, doesn't matter. It takes a
Right.
special person to do
Yep.
that kind of work. It really does. And I have nothing but much admiration for all of you.
Really. And all of the first responders, and especially this county. I have never seen it, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I know that all first responders deserve a lot of credit, but there's just something about Brunswick County.
I thought you were going to go into Maine at some
No.
point.
Heck
The
no.
citizens of Brunswick County have always been so supportive of our sheriff's and law enforcement in
Oh
general.
my goodness.
You would not believe the stuff that comes into our office. And
Mhm.
it used to be mostly around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we get cookies and all, but now it's year round.
Is it?
I mean, there is so much stuff, and the support that comes in that our PIO, which is here, she sees and she manages our social media, and she sees those outpours from the community, and we make sure we recognize those deputies whenever it comes into the office. But I think Sheriff Ingram has done a phenomenal job.
He has.
In the community policing
He has.
aspect of law enforcement.
Yes.
He has changed it.
He is the best.
There's agencies that come to see how we do things.
Yes.
And that,
like your Anchor Initiative program.
correct. Like the Anchor Initiative, our Citizens Academy,
Right.
were modeled, and
Yep.
we couldn't, I mean, there's no more form of flattery than that,
No.
So our community is definitely different than a lot.
It is the whole county, actually. And to have somebody like Sheriff Ingram and yourself at the head of the reins, so to speak, is we are truly, truly blessed. I spoke to a law enforcement agency when I was just recently in Maine, and talked about
Be nice.
the Anchor Initiative program. I mean, they were just amazed. He is an old classmate of mine and a police chief in one of the cities. And he said, I want you to get me more information on that.
I mean, we've helped over 500 people, I think, today. With
Isn't
the
that
Anchor Initiative.
something?
And, we do everything we can to
Yep.
make it no cost to them. If, the insurance, we take all the reasons not to do it out.
Right.
We go pick them up. We take them to, we
Yes.
get them food. We get them whenever they need to get by. We take them to the rehab centers, or the detox centers and rehab.
And you do follow up.
And we do
This
follow
is the
up.
big thing,
Yep.
the follow up.
We stick with them.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
It's a proactive program as opposed to a reactive.
Oh, it's
And
wonderful.
our sheriff's office is definitely proactive.
Yes.
We've got,
Which kind of goes where something I wanted to ask you. So you've been on the job 18 years, if I remember right.
yes, sir.
What's the difference now from when you started? What's the community policing would be one thing I would assume is, but what other things would be?
Probably the proactive versus reactive. I
Okay.
mean, and that goes to all the things that we do in the community, the RAD program, I already mentioned the Citizens Academy. We talked about the Anchor Initiative, but there's so many things that we do for the community. Our impact team goes out and they do presentations on scams. They do presentations on Project Lifesaver. That's another one, Project Lifesaver. But we've also created units within the sheriff's office to combat other issues, problems that the community voices to us. I mean, we're not doing anything that the community's not asking us to do. When we have traffic issues, we get those handled. If we have, anybody can do a website tip, give us information. There's multiple cars coming out of this place this time of night. If something doesn't seem right, we'll look into it. Anything that is sent in through our tip to our website, whether it's a complaint for traffic, narcotics, or even if there's an issue with something or how we handle something, we're going to investigate it from top to bottom. So
I have a couple of questions from our Facebook page, and they are directed at you. The first one is, are you a constitutional deputy?
my constitutional deputy.
Yeah.
So
And you don't have to answer anything that you don't want to.
I don't know what a
I
constitution.
uphold the Constitution
Yeah.
and the laws of North Carolina. That's my job, and that's
That's
what
it.
every job
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, you swear the oath to the
Yes,
Constitution.
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah.
I think.
As a matter of fact, we're going to redo our oath December 9th.
oh,
So we'll
really?
get sworn in the
Okay.
whole sheriff's office. But so yes, I am. I mean,
That's great. Yeah. The other one is okay. This individual says that New Hanover County arrests parents for speaking longer than 3 minutes, the 3 minutes allowed, thus depriving parents of free speech. Apparently,
Oh, they're talking about the school board.
this must be at
Yeah.
the school board meetings. She just wants your thoughts on this.
that doesn't give me enough information to actually know what happened there.
Right.
So I'm not going to criticize another agency for a decision they've made. I don't have all the facts.
Right.
I really don't want to go down that road. No disrespect, but
Yep.
I mean,
No, I get it.
there could be more involved.
Right. Totally understood.
Have we had to ask people to leave those meetings? Yes.
Mhm.
But you've been directed usually by the board members to say you're not doing it of your own volition.
No.
To be clear on it, because I'm somewhat familiar with what happened in New Hanover.
Okay.
And it wasn't like the deputies were doing it without a reason. They were, could you please ask them to leave by the board? So
right. And I mean, were they? Well,
that's your job.
yeah,
Well,
that's right.
every
We're there to
meeting-
keep the peace.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And every meeting has policies, and those policies are in place for a reason.
Mm.
Okay.
And to be clear, by the way, I totally understand this person's perspective, because
Sure.
what the board was doing was silencing the parents. But
Mhm.
having said that, what the deputies were doing at the time was their job.
Right. Right.
I have their back. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just do, because I mean, I viewed it. I
Mhm.
know a little bit about what happened, and things did get a little, let's call it unruly, but not horribly.
Right.
But it was, I think the phrase to use is they were keeping the peace.
Yeah. And, you know, we get calls all the time from people. Hey, I had this situation going on in my house. Okay. I'm going to give you advice based on what you told me, but I wasn't there.
Right.
So I don't have all the facts. So I can't make,
Right.
It's like a he said, she said.
there's always three sides to every story.
Yeah.
His, hers, and the truth every time.
Bingo.
So whenever there is something that, such as the incident with Steve, or maybe when Mitch was murdered, do those things ever give you hesitation in doing what you're doing?
No, and they can't. You learn from everything that you do. Every call that you go on, you learn something new. And if you allow that stuff to cause you to hesitate, then you can put your life in danger or someone else's life in danger. So you can't ever, you always want to learn from the situations you're put in, but you really don't want you don't allow them to make you hesitate.
Okay.
You know, that brings up an interesting point. You guys are constantly going through trainings of different types. One of the things I kind of talked about, you know, what's different from before till now. I remember, as I said, family members going through, you know, nobody ever got shot, thank God, but they were going through robberies and stuff like that, and had to deal with that. They didn't back then have like PTSD type seminars or any kind of training on that. What do they do now, just to kind of give people an idea of what you guys have available to you, and maybe what more would you like to see?
So every year we do in-service, and we have a certain set of topics we must take. You know, we have to qualify with firearms and do the classroom portion. But there are almost like electives that you can choose, and taking care of ourselves. Officer wellness is one of the ones that we are definitely pushing now. And you're seeing a lot of agencies push that because it's going to, one, it's going to help with retention.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to see anybody get into a bind where they're just emotionally exhausted and they break. So in-service training is one thing that we do. We also now have a program. It allows us to track more of the stuff that's not really disciplinary, but things that could lead to that. And it gives us a trigger. Let's say I'm a deputy on patrol, and we're going to talk about maybe a month period. Let's say I'm late for work one day. Let's say the next week I call out sick. Let's say the next week I have someone calls and complains on me, whether it was valid or not.
Right.
Those things are marked. And once we reach a threshold, a supervisor is triggered with this system. It's called an early warning system.
Mm.
So then we can actually, the supervisors, not the upper command, but the supervisors can look at that and take all that information and see whether or not we need to intervene. And it's simply a discussion with this deputy to make sure that there's nothing behind the scenes that's causing this, that we can possibly do something with to prevent him from getting to the point where he does something so egregious that we have to let him go, or he gets himself hurt. That's what we don't want. It's about retention. So that's one of the big things that a lot of your agencies are doing. I had another point with the in-service, but it just left.
It'll come back.
Yeah, it'll come back. But we are doing a lot more now when it comes to officer wellness. You're seeing a lot, and physical fitness is involved in that.
It's one of the best ways to break stress is exercise.
You run a gym. I go to the gym every single day.
Yep.
It's where I was before I came here. I've got to get that in, but that's my de-stress.
Exactly. Yep.
So when I go to the gym, I put my headphones in, I start lifting weights. I may still think about work, but actually I do some of my best thinking when I'm at the gym.
Yep.
So anything that we can do for officer wellness, physically, mentally, is definitely something that we're going to push more as the years go by, because we want that retention. We want people to have 30-year careers, because that's our goal. I mean, we have to do 30 years. We don't have to, but that's to get a
you're
full
hopeful
retirement.
to get them to that,
30
right?
years, and we want to survive those 30 years
Right.
mentally. And
plus, you get the further along they get, their experience becomes invaluable.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a rookie versus someone who's 15 years on the job, it's
we've
night
got
and
to
day.
have those ones to take
Right.
our places. I mean, our
Right.
job as command staff is to train our replacements.
Right.
So we've got to be thinking, like, I've got 12 years. I've got to be thinking 12 years down the road to bring somebody up to take my place eventually.
How has staffing been? And we all know what happened 2-3 years ago, and I don't want to get into the details on that. We know what it is, but how has staffing changed since then? Is it any different? Has it gotten easier, harder?
We are very fortunate in Brunswick, and I think it all goes to the support from the county commissioners, the support of the community. We do have open positions in our detention center and a patrol and our 911 center, but it's not like other agencies surrounding. A lot of your agencies around us are almost critical. They're having to call in. People are working their for whatever the shift is. Ours is 4 on, 4 off. So they're working their 4 days, and they're having to come in 1, 2, 3 days on their days off to work. It's mandatory. So we're not to that point yet. Our recruitment team works really, really hard. We do the best we can to make sure that we're getting quality applicants, which we do. And it's going to be a struggle, but we're definitely a lot better than a lot of other agencies.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about the bigger cities are really struggling right now.
There are hundreds down in some of them, and I could not imagine.
I think New York City is actually like thousands at this point.
Probably is.
And you feel bad for the patrol officers there, because to your point, they're not getting their time off. They need that downtime.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever even consider that area as
Well,
law enforcement.
it's, you see,
It's very scary.
that whole rigmarole, I'm trying to think of a polite way to put it, that happened 2-3 years ago. You're starting to see what the end results of that are. And a lot of experienced officers left.
Yeah.
There's huge gaps in coverage now. And I'm glad to hear that you're not really going through that. And hopefully it stays that way. The younger generations, I think it kind of goes both ways. There's a group of them that are interested in becoming various
Yes.
types of law
Yes.
enforcement.
You either are or you aren't.
But there's a lot that aren't, and it's like you said, it's you want quality people.
Well, and it's also our job to catch them while they're younger. Now we started the cadet program not too long ago, so we're getting high school age kids that
Really?
voluntarily want to come, and we'll put them with our SROs in the summertime and show them, kind of like the Citizens Academy that we do. They get to see different aspects of the sheriff's office to get them interested and create that relationship. But it even goes down to the elementary schools.
Mhm.
We have SROs in every single school in this county.
Wow.
So
That's great.
Building those relationships early. And
Yeah.
hopefully that will pay off in the long run whenever they get older and they're able. And
Tell me about now I know some of the deputies who are women, and they are awesome. And so what is the ratio
I couldn't give you an exact
in the
number.
sheriff's office?
You got to ask the PIO.
She's looking at me like, I don't know. I think. See, I don't even know what it's like in other areas. I mean, we do have women.
Yeah.
Our detention center, we have lots of women, and we've got some great deputies on the road. We have more than we used to. I can tell you that. It's increased. I feel confident in saying that. We've got more women that are applying now, which is good. We just hired one. I think she starts next week. So, I mean, it's more than it used to be.
That's
And so
great.
we're trying to change that mindset.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
No, no.
They've got to show interest first of all,
Right.
which I think is starting to happen more and more.
But you have some that have been there a while, because I'm not going to name names, but I think they're awesome. They really are. They're doing a great job. So we have, once again,
I love all these questions. Keep them coming.
an individual wants to thank you for your service,
Whoever you are, thank you very much.
which I think we all want to. And they would also like to know that the pre-dedication ceremony, is that open to the public?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But every 4 years we have to get re-sworn in under the
Right.
sheriff. So
Mhm.
thankfully he ran unopposed,
I know.
and
So he won.
so yeah, I think he still got more votes than anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not trying to brag or anything about our
No, it's
sheriff.
okay. Go ahead. Absolutely.
No, I think that Sheriff Ingram is one of the best things that's ever happened to Brunswick County.
I've seen so much over the years, and I can't thank him enough. And you can't forget about, I still call him Chief Deputy Miller. It's just hard not
Oh,
to.
Charlie,
But
absolutely.
Both of them, I mean, what they've done for me, and
And Charlie, what Charlie has done for my city. I mean, he went from being a fantastic chief deputy to one of the best representatives that we've ever had.
I couldn't have had two better role models in law enforcement than those two.
No.
I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better. So I'm very blessed, that's for sure.
Yep. So is there anything that you would like to share with us this evening before we break for some bills we need to pay?
Now, you wanted to talk about, you asked me questions
We're
about
gonna
canine.
We're going to come back to that. I got questions. That was what I was going to say. When we come
Yeah.
back from break, I got questions
Okay. All right.
about the
So,
important things.
okay, we're going to take a break, folks, and pay some bills. And we're going to come back and talk more with
We're
Chief
gonna talk puppy dog.
Brian Chism.
You didn't warn TK, did you?
I didn't.
There he goes.
Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, located at 8210 River Road, Southport, is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, with the Tackle Box open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. Marine Service Pro is a full Suzuki and Tohatsu dealership. They deal in pre-owned boats, full service and repair, with certified technicians in all engines, and fiberglass specialists. The Tackle Box offers fresh local seafood, live bait, a tackle shop, and fish packing and shipping. They also offer a full-service U-Haul dealership. Spend time with Leon or Jenny for one-stop shopping at Marine Service Pro and the Tackle Box Seafood, 8210 River Road, Southport.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
Veteran Awareness sponsored by You Are Not Alone. Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
Are you nervous about joining a gym? Anxious about not being able to keep up with others in the fitness classes? Full Circle Fitness has your solution. We specialize in working with those just getting started on their fitness journey. Our coaches tailor each workout to you and your level of ability, so you don't have to worry about keeping up. There's no better opportunity to get started. Call today, Full Circle Fitness, 910-399-8350, or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Okay.
One.
Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Brunswick. Tonight we are talking with Chief Deputy Brian Chism from the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office, and we're very happy to have you with us this evening.
Thank you.
And Dan has lots
Well,
of questions.
So we talked about deputies and all that. Let's get to what everybody loves. Police dogs.
Yeah.
Because how can you not love? Well, two things. The horses. I don't know if you have horses, but
No.
horses and police dogs are probably the two most
They
popular.
have motorcycles.
Yeah, well, they might be able to recruit me with that. Tell us a little bit about being a canine officer and just the whole scenario behind it. Like,
So I'll tell you how I got it started first. It's kind of funny. I was a deputy 7 months, and from day one, and it just so happens that my sergeant, which was my FTO, Tommy Tolley.
I know Tommy.
So from day one, well, FTO back then was like 4 weeks. I did 2 sets a day, 2 sets a night, and they said, "Here you go." Which,
oh boy.
well, you got before me, it was probably like, "Hey, here's your badge, here's your gun, go do good things." But he was over the canine unit at the time. So I was with him. He was training me to be a deputy. I mean, you learn all this stuff in BLET. And then the old joke was, okay, forget everything you learn because we're going to teach you the real stuff on the street. Yeah, it's different now. It's a lot longer now. But I was with him. He had his dog, and I was hooked from day one. So for 7 months, when I was off and they were training, I was there. I did it on my own time because I knew that's what I wanted to do. So 7 months went by. Still, I hadn't met a year. I'm still a fresh deputy, and a position comes up. I'm like, so I've been training. I know some of the commands. I've caught the dogs every day. I was their bite dummy. They were chewing on me every day that I was there in the bite suit. And I said, all right, I'm gonna put my name in the hat. No big deal if I don't get it. I've only been here 7 months. Not gonna hurt my feelings. And there were several people that put in that have been there a while, but I'd shown that initiative. I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I was lucky enough to get it. So that's how I got started. And it was over from there. I did it for 10 years. I worked 3 dogs total. My first dog, Benny.
Benny. I love
He
it.
was a little pocket rocket. He was a short Malinois. He looked like a pit bull Malinois mix. He was my first dog. I went to, at the time, we called it Beck's Canine. He was out of Wilmington. So I went there for 8 weeks to do the initial course, learn how to work a dog. Me and Benny started at the same time. Worked him for 8 years. And then I think at the time, that's when I was in the special operations unit. And I got a Dutch Shepherd. His name was X.
Mm-hmm.
X, like
X,
the letter
the
X.
letter X. I don't know how that.
I don't
know how they choose those names.
You go from Benny to
you get the dog. It's got a refugee collar on it. It's got the name written in Sharpie, and it's whatever. Whatever they probably just pull them out of a bin and throw it on. Okay, that's your name. Go. So I think I was a corporal then, and worked X for about a year. And I had helped training X. Well, then I ended up making sergeant over the unit and taking the unit over. And at the time, there was 2 brand new handlers. So I'm thrown in. Here you go. You're a sergeant now. You're going to take care of all the training and everything. I was like, okay, great. But give me 2 new guys, and we go to same place, pick out the dogs. And when I was there, I was going to the trainer's course to be a certified dog trainer. So I did that. So I took a brand new dog. I gave the other dog to one of the new guys, and then the third guy got a brand new dog. So started with Benny for 8 years, X for about a year. Ike was my last one. AJK was how they spelled it. That's what was on his collar. I still have his collar in my office today. And I worked him. I started him start to finish. I trained him. That was all me. Mm-hmm. Aside from what little bit he had when he came over. He could sit, he could stay, he could lay down. But I taught him the narcotics. I taught him the bite work and everything. I worked him until I made lieutenant, and then it was okay. You got to kind of separate yourself from the dog. So my youngest one, he put in for the dog or put in for the unit, and I was able to pass that dog to him.
Oh, neat.
And so he worked it for a couple of years. Then when he left, Kenny Powell, he's still here and in the unit. He worked it, and then when he retired, I got the dog back. So they've all of my dogs have since passed away that I worked.
Oh.
But 3 dogs total.
Did you not take a dog? Do I remember this correctly? That you and Serena had a dog retired at your house?
Yeah, all of them. Whenever they retire, like my first one, Benny, when he retired, he was at the house. That was Benny.
Yeah, okay.
That was my first dog.
Okay.
Yeah, once they retire, if they show any signs of medical issues or anything, then we retire them and they go home with the handler. They become a pet then.
How long do they normally serve for?
It depends. Benny, 8 years was kind of short.
Okay.
Normally they're probably 10 to 12 years, and there's been dogs that have gone up to 13 and 14.
Really? I didn't know
it all depends on the dog.
You get them pretty much about 6 months to a year, I think. I've heard.
Yeah, right.
Somewhere in there.
It depends. Yeah.
So,
they've got to stay physically fit too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they eat donuts too. No, am I kidding? You know I had to go there. Come on. I got a laugh from both of them. Yes.
You're bad.
No, I'm kidding. But they they are your partner.
Yes.
So, because I think this would be interesting to some of the audience. What does a canine officer do on a typical day, and how is it maybe different than, say, a patrol officer? Or is it?
Let's just say like now. So we have dogs on all our shift. So they're working, they're answering calls. If something comes out that's canine related, they're heading to it. So they could get pulled from their area to go handle any situation, whether it's somebody that's jump and run, or if the narcotics guy need a vehicle search, or if there's a search warrant, search the house. So they could get pulled away, but they're still doing normal patrol duties as a patrol officer. Now we also have some canines in our special operations unit, which they're doing traffic stops and street level narcotics and things like that. So they're still answering calls for service, but they could be called away at any point. And keep in mind, when you start working a dog, it's not like, okay, here's your dog. You don't have to, he's good to go for the rest of the time.
Oh,
you don't have to do any kind of training. It's an ongoing training process. You and him are constantly learning stuff from each other. And the longer you're with them, that team, you see the telltale
Right.
signs. Okay, he just did that. I know what that means. He's done this before. I know what's
Right.
getting ready to happen. So you learn each other, but it's constant. So while you're out working a shift, if you've got some downtime, you may go somewhere and go do some obedience with your dog, or stop by the training center and do some agility. You're constantly training. I used to do something with him every day, just to keep him going and
Yes.
keep him up on those skills. I mean, so it is a little different, but it was the best time of my life.
I was going to say, you must have enjoyed it,
I
because
enjoyed it.
you can see it on your face, actually.
I could talk about dogs all day. The training for me, it was working a dog was fun, but I really enjoyed training other people to work the dog, which is why I went to become a certified trainer.
Mhm.
I wanted to teach our guys, and I didn't want to have to send them away to schools
Right.
and things like that. It was a lot of work. And I was part of the special operations unit, so I had some schedule flexibility when I was doing that.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of work, and a lot of problems get put on your shoulders working with dogs. Like, if you do something wrong, I can go to you and ask you, "Hey, why'd you do that?" But I can't go to a dog and say, "Hey, why'd you do that? That was stupid." I have to through training, I have to set up scenarios and try to figure out why he did what he did, what caused him to do that. So it's a lot of, I'm not the smartest man, I'm not the best trainer, but it was fun to get to learn how to read those problems and how to fix the problems, and what works for one dog may not work for another dog.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's
So
a
really
lot.
no different for a human
I
being,
think
though,
you
right?
have to have a
No.
lot of patience.
You have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was times the dogs knew better than you.
The dogs taught you more than probably most people.
There
would
you
teach
go.
They teach you a lot.
Yeah.
Not just dog stuff, but I think they can teach you how to dealing with frustrating issues with them can help you deal with frustrating things on the street when you're dealing with somebody.
Right.
So
This lady would like to know, what characteristics do you look for to choose a dog for canine training?
that's a very good question. So whenever we would go and we still do it now, when we go and we're in need of a dog,
Mhm.
we'll go to a facility that has 20, 30 dogs that's available to be utilized.
So how do you find these places?
We have a vendor that we go to.
Okay.
So we'll go to this place, and they ship the dogs in from overseas, and they have, let's say they have 20 dogs. So
How come they come
Yeah,
from
I was just
overseas?
going to ask the same question.
they are a lot stricter on their breeding process over there. So you have
Really?
less issues,
Aha.
less medical issues.
Yep.
They're stricter in their records keeping, and
Really?
a lot
Interesting.
the dogs that we get from overseas are just they're better fit
Is there a particular area they come from primarily,
all
or
over.
all over?
Yeah.
Okay.
My first dog, Benny, was I spoke to him in Dutch. Not sure where
Wow.
I can remember, but my last one, Ike, came from Germany.
Yeah. I've heard of
So
I've heard Germany before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they tend to be like the shepherd type.
Mhm.
I'm partial to Malinois, but we
Yeah.
won't get into that. I don't want
So my little
make anybody mad.
5-pound Shih Tzu wouldn't have a chance of being.
I tell you what, you can train like narcotics. You can train any dog that has toy drive, and that's to her question. When we go and test these 20 dogs, we're looking for traits, and it's very simple. Their willingness to go get that toy 100 times, their willingness to not give up. So one of the tests that we would do is we would get this open field with grown up grass, and we would take a toy, usually a Kong, because most patrol dogs love Kongs or tennis balls.
Mhm.
So whatever they liked, we would take it, and we would throw it just maybe out of the grass so he could see how he reacted to it. Did he run really fast to go get it, or just he trot over there to go get it? So we want the one that's going to run full speed to go get it, blow by it, tumble, and to get this toy. So the second throw, we're going to throw it into a field where he can't see the ball. And we're actually, the first time we do that, we'll let him look at it and see where it goes, and he'll probably go right to the area.
Mhm.
Well, the last test is the most important in this little test. You turn the dog around and throw the toy, so he doesn't see you. He knew you threw it, but he doesn't see where it goes. and let's see how long, number one, it takes him to go find it, or if he gives up. We want those dogs that are never going to give up.
Tenacious.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want that dog that if I throw that toy 100 times, he's going to go as hard as he can 100 times and come back and bring it. And that toy, that toy drive and the hunt drive is what we're looking for. Number one, is there a toy that he loves that he is going to go nuts over? And then the hunt drive. How many times and how long is he going to look for that? That transitions into everything. Your tracking, your narcotics, your article searches. Those are the main things that we're looking for, is that hunt and that toy drive.
That's great. That is so great. Well, I guess that we have to, do we have another question? Oh, we have one more question.
This is awesome. I love these questions. Keep
I
them
do
coming,
too.
folks.
Okay, a comment. Justin Stiegel. German Shepherds are the superior breed. Must be a friend.
Justin Stiegel is a sergeant over at New Hanover
Okay.
K9. And thank you for that little dig, Justin. But Malinois are better.
The one I saw over in Longleaf Park not too long ago was an officer with a German Shepherd and a ball. To your point. And the dog's carrying the ball around for some reason. But
That's
that was
funny.
If you will
Months ago.
just bear with me, I want to just make a few close out the show with Chief Deputy Chism.
Sounds good.
Okay. Please bear with me, folks. I want to just announce a few things that's coming up this weekend in our county. And the first thing that I would like to say is that if you wish to have specialty seafood orders for your holiday, please see Jenny at Marine Service Pro and Tackle Box, 8210 River Road, Southport. The number is 910-363-4725. And they will be able to order anything that you like. They also have fresh fish, because I know for a fact 8 boats came in tonight. Guess where I'm going after work after the show. Boiling Spring Lakes has their tree lighting and their Christmas parade this Friday night. The tree lighting is at 5 and the parade is at 6, right at the fire station. The events are at City Hall and Fire Station, the tree at City Hall. And they also have a community center on the next morning from 8 to 10. So join them to celebrate the holiday. Southport once again has their storefront showcase. Everybody loves this holiday decorating at its best. If you'll call 910-457-7900 or visit cityofsouthport.com, then they can give you all the information you need. The Wintercraft Festival, which is December 10th, is at Franklin Square Park from 9 to 4. And one more from Charlotte. Their holidays, DAZE, is this weekend, December 2nd. Tree lighting, music, dancing, Santa, and more at 5:30 at Mulberry Park. Their Christmas parade is the following morning at 10 a.m. And Christmas market is December 17th from 9 to 2, once again at Mulberry Park. And folks, please send us your ads. We would be happy to announce them. Anyway.
Nice job on that, by the way. You got through that with no problem. I couldn't do that.
I didn't even stutter.
Not even once. You didn't even hesitate.
I didn't.
You're a better person than I. I'd be going, Anyway.
Anyways, so
Going back to puppies, or are we going to go to something else?
absolutely,
All right.
we will just go back to
Actually,
our guests.
I want to kind of shift it if that's okay.
That's
So
fine.
one of the things that I think the public is interested in is, you as a supervisor, what do you think is the hardest part of your job?
Personnel.
Personnel,
Without a
How
doubt.
So
Always.
Just,
I kind of knew what was going to be the answer anyway.
Mhm.
we all make mistakes.
We're human
It
beings.
doesn't matter what profession you're in. We all make mistakes, and dealing with those mistakes, finding ways to teach people so they don't make the mistakes again. And you want to do it the right way. You don't want to sit there and chastise people for doing something wrong. But you want to make sure that the lesson's learned the right way.
Right.
So we're not out to hammer people. So that's the probably the most frustrating part of the job. It's trying to handle mistakes when you weren't there. So that can be tough. I think that we've got a great agency.
You do.
I think there's a lot of agencies
You
around
do.
us that have great agencies, but we're all going to have issues, and how we deal with those issues is going to feed into a lot of different things. Retention. So, but the big thing is making sure that no matter what the mistakes are made, everybody understands our mission at the sheriff's office and why we are here. And if they will pay attention to that, then, hopefully the mistakes will be minor. But we do, as I told you earlier, we investigate every single complaint that we get. We're very big on that. We want to be as transparent as we can to the community that we serve. And while they may not always agree with it, because it's unfortunate we deal with people when they're at their worst or they're dealing with the worst issues, and they may not
going to agree with you.
They may not understand that our hands sometimes we have to work within the law.
Right.
And while not everybody understands that, civil issues is something that
right,
people don't quite understand, but we have certain things that are guidelines that we have to stay within. But
what is your scariest call? Is it domestic violence? I say that because I just feel that is so unpredictable.
That was back in the day. That's what my family members would have said. That was, they hated those calls.
I think domestic calls and any traffic stop that you go on.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea. Domestic, they're fighting. They're arguing. There's at least two people. But with a traffic stop, you don't know. Sometimes, if you've been to the same house multiple times, you know who you're dealing with sometimes. But a traffic stop, you never really know until you walk up to that door.
Exactly.
But we prepare officers to be as safe as they can. The techniques they use walking up to the car and how you position yourself. So, but I would definitely say domestics and traffic stops are the scariest calls that we go on, because just the unknown. Even a domestic call and traffic stop, well, you may get there, they're arguing, you diffuse the situation, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to tick right back up again.
Yeah.
So, and it only takes a split second. And complacency is one thing that we really have to be careful about. I mentioned going to the same house multiple times. You may get to the house 10 times, you know them by name, you're talking to them, but if you get too comfortable, then that's when bad things can happen.
Right. Now, you're allowed, though, if you make a traffic stop, isn't the officer allowed to stay behind the door of his car and ask them to exit their vehicle?
We can, yes.
Yeah. So are they trained that if they are unsure if that person has a weapon or whatever, that they are allowed to do that?
From the minute we cut the blue lights on, and take that back, even before we cut the blue lights on, we're watching the vehicle and getting any telltale signs of things that we could see that could lead us to believe something's not right.
Right.
And that's what you're looking for. The movements of the driver, the movements of the passenger, how they pull over.
Quick movement type stuff.
How they pull over. Are they waiting and still driving down the road? Do you see them or are they looking at you in the rearview mirror? Are they acting, are they shifting around the vehicle? So there's multiple different things. When you get the vehicle stopped, you're not just rushing out to get up there. You're paying attention to what you're going to see, what you smell. Use all your senses whenever you're going on these traffic stops. And definitely, movement of the driver and the passengers is key once you get them stopped. Are they looking at you, or are their hands on the steering wheel? Are they down by their side? Are they out the window? There's so many different things, but you take all that into consideration when you're doing traffic stops.
When you're stopping someone, it's kind of a good way to go to. What would you want the person you're stopping to do? For example, I've been told in the past, hands on the steering wheel, turn the light on, that kind of stuff, because it not that it takes away the risk, but it lessens it, I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
That's right.
the hands are the big thing. Is
Yeah.
if I can see your hands, it makes me feel better.
I was actually told hold them like this up against the steering. I don't know how valid.
I'm
that
fine
is.
if you do 10 and 2 because I can
Yeah,
see your
it's-
hands. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many different angles. You can see from the back window. Now, if you got tent involved, that's a whole different story. But if you can see through the back window, then you can see through the side. We train them how to approach the vehicle and where to stand while they're talking to the
Yes.
driver or the but 10 and 2 on the steering wheel is just fine with me. If you want to put them out the window, that's fine too. I mean, the big thing is,
that one too.
I mean,
yeah.
either whatever they feel comfortable with. I would rather them not be down by their side.
Yeah.
But I mean, not everybody's gonna think about that when they're getting
Right.
stopped. Some people just because they're fidgeting around doesn't mean that they may be already trying to get their license or registration for you.
Right.
So I mean, they may be
Exactly.
And they're nervous.
and they're nervous. I
Yeah.
mean, so
It's so unpredictable.
it is,
Yeah,
and
that's
really
the
is.
scary
that's
part.
the
right?
scary
Yes.
part. Yeah.
I do have one more question on that, which is
And
because I know we got to go quick.
Yeah, make it quick.
How do you feel as an officer in North Carolina where we have concealed carry? Because I know this is a question people always wonder about and never ask police officers versus, say, New York, where I'm from, where basically there is no concealed carry.
Right.
Do you think obviously to me, there's a higher risk, but do you worry about it more than, say, a New York officer would, or any differently?
That's a hard question to ask because I've never been an officer in New York. But I mean, do you think about? Is it one of the many things you think about at a traffic stop? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about that even when you're going to somebody's house.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people have guns in Brunswick County and in North Carolina, and that's great.
Mhm.
I think with the traffic stop, if you've got a concealed carry, you have to tell us.
Immediately.
So,
Yeah.
and most people do. Some people will have it on the dash. Some people will tell you the ones that throw if you throw your hands out the window, 9 times out of 10, you've probably got a concealed carry, and they let me know as soon as I walk up to the vehicle.
Yeah.
Good.
So, I mean, do I worry about it? I don't necessarily worry, but I'm still thinking about it too. And
Yeah.
you have to think about it every single time.
Yeah.
You can't get complacent.
Right.
That's when you get hurt.
Yeah, I just wonder if, because like New York does, basically it has it, but the rules that get to it
Yeah.
are impossible.
Yeah.
I just wonder if
You-
it was different.
Thank you, Ryan, so very
You're being
much.
cut off.
Oh, another hour.
You know,
I told you, we just go.
Dan, he missed us last week, so he just
Stop it.
on a roll
You didn't
tonight.
miss me at
aren't
all.
you? I did indeed. Anyway, we have to break to pay a few bills. Hopefully, we'll have a second to come back, but if not, thank you so much for all that you do for the county,
Thank you very much.
and we loved having you this evening.
I've had a lot of fun. Thank you both very much.
Great.
I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody that's listening.
It's on to you, TK.
Today's veteran homeless rate is approximately 19,750, and the numbers are declining because of the various veteran programs. If you or a veteran you know is homeless, please call 877-4AID-VET. This is a confidential and toll-free call. From this veteran to other veterans, please be there to help our brother and sister veterans. Again, the number is 1-877-424-3838. And thank you for your service.
This show is also sponsored by Dr. Tony Maglione. Dr. Tony is a cardiologist practicing in Wilmington. He accepts Medicare patients, and his office is located across the street from New Hanover Regional Medical Center at 2032 17th Street. The office number is 202-1071. Dr. Tony is an author whose last book is Rules for Conservative Patriots, and it can be purchased on Amazon. His website is www.drtonymag.com.
If you're enjoying the content you find on Big Talker, any of your shows, all the hosts, you really need to make sure you're following and liking us on Facebook. There's a video section. You can watch all the live video of programs as they happen. You can also see video of past content that you may have missed for whatever reason. Plus, even better, you can share it with a friend. Let other people know how much you enjoy the Big Talker and the great content we provide, and interact with other listeners and the hosts in the comments section live as it happens. Big Talker Net on Facebook.
It seems like every other store is now selling CBD in some form or another. But did you know that Wilmington has just one local CBD company? I'm talking about Carolina Pure. Family owned and operated, they are Wilmington's first and only CBD company that makes quality hemp products right here in town, including tinctures, topicals, and pet products. Their hemp is sourced from local farmers, and they support area musicians and nonprofits. Check us out at carolinapureshop.com. Have you heard about Cape Fear's only fitness community exclusively for those over 50? At Full Circle Fitness, we understand that goals, lifestyles, and our bodies change through the decades, which is why our Living Fit After 50 is custom designed to help you get a safe, effective workout without spending hours in the gym. Get started today. Call 910-399-8350 or visit FullCircleFitnessNC.com.
Join Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want, by asking for Big Talker.
Week on Tuesday, and we thank Chief Deputy Brian Chism for joining us this evening. And I'm so happy to have Dan back.
How are you?
Thank you all. Have a great night.
See you next week.